need it, and then I don't want.
Is it?
Let me think, right?
Let me think about it.
Yeah, let me think
And
about it.
also, stock market brings me more
Better return.
more return.
Yeah.
Okay. This is like alternative products comparison, basically, right?
Stupid.
Some people say the company give them 401k and their pension is.
I don't need this. 401k is enough.
Don't need it enough. Yeah, 401k and.
It's under. I don't need it. I think. Yeah,
Oh,
under.
people say,
Yeah.
I don't need it, I don't need it.
Yeah, that fall. Yeah, I don't need it for a lot of
I
reasons.
don't need it.
I have
No, you already have it, number 4.
I don't have children.
Yeah, I don't need insurance. Yeah.
Right, right.
Yeah, I don't need it. Okay. Okay, I want you to remember this because I'm going to wipe it out. Okay, is that okay? Right. You know, but these are legitimate questions, right? You know, so a lot of these things, now that you know what are some of the things that people will ask you about or object to you about, right? You need to understand how to make sure that they're on the same wavelength, you know, as you. Does that make sense? You know, so if they're on the same wavelength as you can say whatever, you know, you're going to lose them somewhere in the middle, and you keep blah, 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 and you end it, you know what? Let me think about it, right? Let me do some more research. Does that make sense? You know, so you have to, when you talk, you have to make sure that they understand one step at a time. Is that okay? Everybody understand what I'm talking about, right? So number one is, the way I talk is usually I explain to them, well, remember, we have that 5 tax benefits, 5 living benefits, right? You know, in fact, we still have other benefits, right? What are the other benefits? It bypass probate tax. It could bypass estate tax too, actually, right? If you put it into second to that policy or you put it into a trust, then it bypasses estate tax and all that. We haven't even talked about those things yet, right? You know, but if you talk about all, I mean, these are good because this is designed to provide you with all the weapons that you can counter, you know, when you discuss it with your clients. Everybody understand?
Yes.
Right, you know, but usually when I explain these things, I explain to them first about the big picture. What is the big picture, right? The big picture is the X curve. That's the ideal plan for people who wants to build their financial plan, right? Because you understand the X curve, right? You know, building wealth, and then you reduce your responsibility, right? You know, but after you do that, you know, I assume that when you talk about products, is you have done your personal financial strategy, your PFS session with them. What is PFS? Is you already know their situation, right? We don't just sell these products, you know, out of nowhere. Right? We usually talk to our clients based on what they need. Does that make sense? You know, what they're looking for, right? So the big picture, what is the big picture? If they said remember we're talking about accumulating wealth, and we're talking about hedging the responsibility, right? You know, but now let's get past the death benefit for now. Everybody know that we all need the death benefit, right? Everybody needs insurance, especially if they're responsibility. You know? But let's talk about on the investment side, right? Let's talk about, you know, I can do these things in 2 ways, right? One way is I can talk to them, you know, because if you want to save money, well, you're talking about, let's say, usually people who have higher income, they say about $2-3 million. That's usually their goal for retirement. Does that make sense? You know, but let's say $1 million. You know, if you have $1 million and this thing is earning 10%, you're talking about $100,000 earning every year. And if you have to pay tax, let's say your tax is 25 to 30%, right? How much do you lose every year? 25,000, right? Do you think your cost of insurance is going to cost you that much every year? No. Right? That's one way to do it. Everybody understand what I'm talking about? Can you ask this simple question to your clients? Right? Or, you know, the more other questions I can ask them is, I can ask them, look, Ken, how much money would you like to spend every year when you retire? When you retire. Let's say you want to retire at 55, right? Or 60. How much money would you like to retire, or would you like to spend during your retirement?
About 50 per year.
Okay. Let's say you need 50, right? Yeah. That's a very good number. Some people ask 400, right? If you want to spend 100, you want to take out $50,000 every year, and this is net after tax, right? I assume here,
Okay.
net after tax, right?
Yes.
Okay, how much do you have to pull out from your 401k? Or your bank account, actually, just in order to receive $50,000 tax free? How much?
Oh, man.
70.
If you have 20%, you know, at least about what? Maybe about 65, right? Am I correct? And 30%, right? Or whatever, right?
Close to it.
Yeah. So how much is your tax? So that's it, right? I mean, do you want to pay this $15,000 every year for the rest of your life, right? And how much do you think that will become? Does that make sense? Right, so that's the big picture, right? And then of course, and then I go into the IFC 7702, right? You know, so Billy already showed a very good picture, you know, but this is, you need to learn. I think if anything that you learn today, I want you to think about how to draw a picture and how to tell a story and how to ask the right questions for your clients. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Because remember, you cannot convince people, you cannot change people's heart, but they can change themselves. Does that make sense? How do they change themselves?
Understanding.
You're asking them the right questions, so now they think, okay, if they agree with you, right? For example, like, you know, so how are you going to avoid all that taxes? Or because which one makes more sense for you? Paying that tax or paying cost of insurance? Now they start thinking, oh, paying life insurance makes more sense now. Then it becomes their idea. It becomes your idea, isn't it?
You sold me that way.
There you go. Right? Yeah, you know, I don't have to convince you. I just ask you which one makes more sense to you. And if people understand, they understand. If they don't understand, that's what we call
Stupid.
stupid. Now you understand, right? I've seen people stupid on top of stupid, you know, right? Double stupid, you know, but there's nothing you can do, right? Some people have the right to be stupid. Does that make sense? Right? What can you do? Right? You know, so this is what I just showed to them, right? This is your money right here. The question is, what is your umbrella, right? This can be 401k plan, this can be a Roth IRA, this can be 408, 529, whatever, right? You know, this one right here is called IRC 7702, right? So what does it do? And this is what I told them, IRC 7702 require what? A life insurance. In order for you to qualify for an IRC 7702 plan, you need to have life insurance. Is life insurance IRC 7702?
Yes.
No. Not all life insurance qualify for IRC 7702. Right? Term life doesn't qualify for one thing, you know, and many other, even permanent life insurance.
Whole life don't qualify.
Yeah. Well, they qualify under IRC 7702, but is it suitable to be used as a IRC 7702? We call it Life Insurance Retirement Plan, LIRP. It may not be suitable, right? So how does this thing work, right? Usually, then I go with the, and I'm going to go very fast here because some of you probably have seen it, but many of you maybe haven't seen it before, right? So, yeah. Well, if you have any questions, you can interrupt me just a little bit, right, so we can do this.
My first name was
Is it on?
That's it?
Yeah.
You don't use your call number
What do you mean?
for WFG. You don't use your call number as your address.
Okay, there you go. Now, you do this before you go into their own individual plan. Does that make sense? Because once you go into their individual plan, you know, they just want to know what it is for me, which is okay, you know, but people need to understand first the components, right? You know, you all know about the components in details, you know, but this is how I explain to them very quickly, right? Instead of dealing with the term life and then whole life divided by 2, whole life, universal life with variable index and stuff. This is what I use just to go quickly about it. Does that make sense? So what does it do? This is a comparison of a 35-year-old male, $500,000 death benefit. This is very simple, right? 10-year term, cost of insurance is only $267, right? This is what I explained to client, right? This is a client, right? On this plan right here, there are two components. One is what we call the cost of insurance. What is cost of insurance? Cost of insurance is the pool of money where everybody chipped in to pay for your $500,000 death benefit in case you die too soon. Does that make sense? Right? For 10 years it's cheap, right? But remember, Billy showed it to you right earlier. What happened after the 10 years is over? $4,000 a year. Right? That's term life. Everybody follow me on this? Right? So what happened if you got cancer right here at year 8? But you don't die at year 10.
I thought as a term they fixed the premium.
Yeah, they fixed it for 10 years only, right?
It was only 10 years?
Yeah,
In
that's
that
why.
one, see, there's 10, 20, 30.
Yeah. They have 10, 20, 30. Remember we're talking about term life, right? Yeah, for 20 years they fixed it, but after that, now many insurance don't even let you continue it, right? Banner Life, all this, Johnson & Johnson, Allstate and stuff, they don't have permanent life insurance products. So once you exhaust your 10 years term, guess what? Too bad, you don't die, gone, right? So there are people actually committing suicide just to win the death benefit. I'm not kidding. Right, but is that how you want your client to end up?
But I thought it says in the exam
years.
suicide doesn't cover.
After 2 years.
After 2 years, they cover it.
Okay.
Yeah, so you can still commit suicide, it's okay. But
He's
that's
gotta
just 2
wait,
years.
yeah, he's gotta wait 2 years.
Yeah, right. You can hate your life for 2 years. After that, it's up to you, right? But the problem with this is why we make sure now, because we can do all of them. Usually when I get to the client, I make sure, and I explain to my client, right, because they might buy a term life, but when they buy a term life, I make sure, I would ask them this: do you want something that is convertible and renewable, or no? What is convertible and renewable? Convertible means the product can be converted into a permanent life insurance anytime. It's in your exam book, by the way. Right, so you're going to take your exam, it's going to be in your exam, right? Renewability and convertibility. Make sense? Everybody follow me? What is renewable? Now, renewable is basically guaranteeing this. So basically, if that you got cancer right here, doctor said you probably have about 5 years to live, they can pay, family can pay more, right? $4,000. It still makes sense. Why? Because they're going to get $500,000. Does that make sense? So even though this is crazy, at least they can continue it, right? If the product is not convertible and renewable, the problem is, that's it, right? Now, 20-year term will cover you for 20 years, right? Again, if you got a heart attack, stroke, high triglyceride, whatever, you don't qualify for more, you can continue, but you're going to have to pay this much money. Is that what you're looking for? Right? How about 30-year term, right? This is 30-year term right here. Right? The guy's 35, by the time he hits 65, he doesn't die, $22,000. Now, insurance companies out there, right? America or all these other companies that doesn't offer permanent insurance, right? They'll tell you, Mr. Prakash, when you're 65, your children are already big, you don't need that money, right? You don't need the insurance, so why don't you just drop it off? Yes or no? They tell you that, right? Why don't you just invest this money somewhere else? Yes? Right? That's legitimate questions, but let me show it to you first, the universal life. This is the universal life right here. Right, now this is on a specific product, right? This is WRL, universal life. Other products, they actually do small and increasing all the way, but on WRL and most Peg Life too, they're top heavy. So they're big in the middle, in the beginning, but they're smaller in the middle. Do you see that? Right? I'll still come back up. Right? But do you notice? It comes back up very slowly. Follow me? Everybody follow me? Right? Warren, you're not sleeping, right? From 35 all the way till, let's say if this guy lived to 80 years old, what's the cost of insurance cumulative? $53,000 compared to?
$770.
So which one is more expensive? Which one is cheaper actually? Term life or universal life? Right? People say term life is cheap. It's not true.
Just 1 second, this was zero cash value, right?
This is zero cash value. We're just talking about pure cost of insurance right here.
This is without the ROP.
Without ROP,
Eternal
pure cost of
premium,
insurance.
yeah.
Exactly.
Okay.
Which obviously before the term even got there, they would have dropped it because who can pay that, right?
Yeah.
Whereas with that, you can afford that, and but guaranteeing they lose it, they lose
So-
the death benefit.
Well, if they get cancer at age 40, they may want to continue paying.
Yeah, but can they afford it though? That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I mean, when you start getting up there at 65, $20,000 in 1 year, so you're almost guaranteeing they're gonna drop it at some point just because it's.
So you pay 10 years, or this one like what do you call it? Remission now, right?
Commission.
And now, well, you want to continue? You want to, once you take it off, your cancer came back, right? Does that make sense? So now, but this is the question, right? I mean, if you understand that universal life is going to cost this guy right here $53,000 in 45 years, forget about tax benefit, forget about investment. Just talk about just the insurance itself, that benefit itself. Is this makes a good sense for a family? Is it a good investment for a family, right, Ita? I mean, if your husband put this kind of money, right, during 45 years, and when he died at 80 years old, you're gonna get $500,000 that benefit. Is that a good investment for your
Yeah,
family?
for her.
Why? Either for me or because we could die first, right? Does that make sense?
Well,
Right?
and the thing is it's 53,000, and yeah, if I had 52,000 today, could I grow it to 500? Maybe. But could I, where can I put that much money on an annual basis?
Yeah.
So 53,000 over 45 years and be guaranteed that it would actually grow to half.
It's like a house. $500,000 is like a house in the.
Do you have to wait until you turn 80? No.
No.
What if you die tomorrow? What if you die in the first 2 years?
Yes, you still pay up.
Of course, when you die in the first 2 years, term life probably is more beneficial, right? You know, but what happens if you live beyond that 10, 20, 30-year term? Does that make sense?
But you can convert your term to whole life, right?
Yes, you can.
Some companies.
Yeah, some companies.
all.
Our providers, you know, that I would recommend to our clients are convertible, which is okay because it's like double sales for us. Right?
How can you convert whole life later?
Yes.
Well,
Some companies. Yeah.
On those some companies,
Mhm.
can we make the switch after we are diagnosed with terminal illness?
Yes.
Yes.
That's a good question. On convertibility, that's why the guaranteed convertibility is very, very nice.
Yes.
At least you can buy your term, you can convert it into a
Whole life.
permanent life anytime.
Yeah, without deniability. They
Yeah.
cannot
So if we really have a client who really doesn't make much money at all, right? You know, we sell away term life, but we make sure that it's convertible
So convert any permanent life or only whole life?
from
Four
term
times.
into a permanent.
well, and it's gonna be
Four
within a
times.
company.
Yeah.
So like Pac Life's term,
Yeah.
you're converting to Pac Life, whatever they have.
Yeah. Everybody follow me on this?
So even though if that person gets sick, that's he still be able to convert
Yes.
to the whole life?
In fact, as soon as this guy found that he got cancer, if he can afford it, convert it into a permanent life.
There's,
Just-
but is it gonna
So
cost
the
more
premium
if
is
you?
going to be, it's going to increase.
No,
Absolutely. It's going to
Yes.
cost more
A lot
depending
more.
on what age he
Like,
converted.
okay, if he chooses to convert and he doesn't have any diseases, it's gonna be cheaper, right? If he,
No.
as opposed
No.
to-
No,
it's
no,
gonna be
no.
more
It's
expensive.
just based on age and gender when
Okay.
you convert.
Yeah, because once they guarantee convertibility,
But what she meant what if the person got cancer and want to convert, they will cost more
No.
than the average?
Yes.
no, not because of the cancer, but because of the age. For example, like this guy right here,
Not
right?
because of cancer?
No.
No.
Okay.
So at 63, let's say at 63, right? He wants to convert this, he got cancer right here.
Right.
Right now, I'm telling you though, most insurance company don't let you 30 years. Convertibility usually only apply for 10 years only,
Yes.
usually,
Yes.
right? You know, so let's say if you know, this guy at 63 got cancer or stroke and he knows he won't be well, you know, he won't qualify for new insurance, right, basically. He can convert this thing into a permanent life. But the cost of the permanent life start from, this is like when, like, you know, the cost as if he started back in,
A brand new IUL.
yeah, 63 basically, not like when he started at
So it
35.
becomes expensive, yeah.
So
Way more
it
expensive.
will not be evaluated based on his sickness.
No.
No.
If there's a guaranteed
So-
convertibility.
Yeah.
Can you scroll up a little bit
Yeah.
until to year 9 or year 8?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so if I buy term,
Mm-hmm.
let's say it's the same COI, right?
Mhm.
At 714 universal.
Mm-hmm.
Does it mean that I automatically get 1121?
No. It's going to be as if you
Based
start from
on
here.
the
Yeah,
age.
it's going to be higher than this.
Based on that age, yeah?
Yeah, based on your age. Higher.
Well, but that's based on age 43, right?
Yep.
This is based on if you started
Started
as 35, at 35 years old. So this cost is fixed, you know, for 35-year-old, for universal life. Does that make sense?
At the starting date.
Yeah. Right? This number is easy to see, right? Everybody understand? Right? So usually the first thing that I try to talk to the client first is that $53,000 a good investment, Mr. Klein. You know, if your family going to get 500, right? Because this is what the people don't tell you, right? This is what they tell you. Prakash, why don't you buy a 20-year term? Because after that your children's already gone, you don't need it anymore, right? And you think this is cheap? You only spend $6,931. So if I lose that money, that's fine, no problem, no big deal. But in reality, you don't lose this money. How much do you lose? $500,000 plus this money. That's what you lose. Does that make sense? Yes?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
Everybody follow me on this?
Because in permanent, you guarantee to get the death benefit because
Everybody
you
will
guarantee
die.
to die. Yeah.
100%. Right? Last time I checked, right? Nobody live forever, right?
Even Jesus died, right?
Well, that makes sense because a lot of times they live the house, but he can live this and take reverse mortgage on house, spend that money.
There you go.
Yeah.
Right? I mean, you can reverse mortgage your house just to maintain this. It's going to work more than even your house.
But then, and also this
Yeah.
is not a taxable inheritance either. 500,000, there's no. It's just they get the 500,000. Whereas a house inherited, you know.
A lot of Chinese, right, and I think some Indians too, right? They love to invest in real estate. Right? Yes or no?
Yeah.
And I ask them why. Well, I want to leave this to my kids if I don't use it, right? What do you leave $500,000 property to your kids? What if they don't like the house?
Right.
They want to sell the house, 6% agent cost, and then you know if there's an estate tax or property tax due, you have to fire sell that house because estate tax due in 9 months, right? You know, and so they only receive like 7%, and the capital gain tax kit in, right? And then
Well, then it's
whatever
a house.
sales tax,
You
right?
have to fix the house and all that.
There you go.
It goes through probate.
Right? With this, I don't have to worry. When I get money in retirement, I'm going to spend it all. I already got millions of dollars for my kids.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Does that make sense? Right? So if they agree with this, right, this
You can
is...
convince my brother. I need to talk to him again.
Yeah, now you understand, right? You know, so this is it. Right? $53,000. Now, this is not $53,000 up front. We're talking about...
Spread out over the years, over
20 years.
What is
Or, I
it?
mean,
And people that said, how do it go up? You know, my mortgage doesn't go up. Well, this is inflation. Does that make sense? Okay. So if people understand this already, it's easy. Right? Now I can talk to them, right? Okay, if we're talking about $53,000 here, right? Lauren, if you like this one, right? I can sell it to you already. I don't care about anything else, just the insurance part. I can sell it to you already. Does that make sense? But now what if I can make this thing free for you?
Well, I'll take it.
There you go, right? Who doesn't want free? Right? So now do we take care of two problems already? One is people who say I don't need it. Right? The question is I don't need it is why? Oh, I hate my children, you know, I don't want to leave them $1 million. Some people, you know, say that to you, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, oh, I don't want to leave too much money for my kids. You know, I don't ask them why. Do you hate them or? They piss
Some
you
people
off?
they said I survive without money. You know, I want them to survive without money too.
Yeah, that's a ridiculous excuse, isn't it?
Yeah, my
Right.
grandpa left me nothing. So
Huh?
consider.
The what?
My grandpa had millions of dollars and he left me nothing, so I'm there. So.
There you go. Now you understand Prakash, right? But this is what I tell my clients, right? Do you know that your children and grandchildren will love you more
Yes.
if they know you need something valuable, right? Because you're worth $10 million for them.
We just heard from Lauren.
There you go.
So when you're old age, you don't have to worry about my grandchildren don't visit me.
Exactly.
Problem.
When I run into old people, they're lonely, they're miserable, nobody wants with them. You know why? Because you're not
Because
talking
you're
about
broke.
money with them. When I talk about $5 million, then you know what, Grandpa, I'll take you this, I'll take you that, I'll buy you food.
Money talk.
Yes! Is that true?
Every time.
Use emotional side. It is true though. Is that true? Right? Yeah. All right. So, but what if I can make this free for you? What do you mean by free? Now I just talked to you, right? I mean, you
Uncle
want
Sam's money.
Uncle Sam's money.
There you go.
The concept is the same as HSA, as the same as LTC, everything else. You're using a portion of your tax money to pay for this. Right? We're talking about $50,000 retirement, and the tax is only $15,000 every year. Right? You know, I mean, 5 years, you only pay more than this. Is that true? Right? So, how about making it free? So, if you do this, people don't even have to worry about illustration, this and that, right? Because people are always concerned about the cost of insurance, right? Oh, this is big. You know, if I don't qualify because my health is this and that, I guarantee you, even if you got table rating J, if there's such a thing, right? I mean, you're about, you know, you're about to die, right? You know, but some of the companies, insurance companies still approve you. That thing is still going to be less than your tax. End of story. Does that make sense? You know, so to me, it's not even a decision to reject this thing, because who's going to pay $30,000, $40,000 tax? If you're really serious about saving money, right? Would you do it?
Yes.
Does that make sense, right? You know, so any questions? Right? Yeah. So now I can show them this right now. Usually I can show them different things, you know, but I just close a client $1 million policy. I just like to show it to you what it looks like, right? Now this is for people who just want life insurance, because this guy is 61 years old. Okay? And this is what I show it to him. Let me.
Oh.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what?
He had $1 million?
Oh, hang on a second. Don't. Yeah. I'm not gonna show the name here, right?
By marrying him.
How come
I
you
just
didn't make
wanna-
a nice one for me like this.
Huh?
You didn't make a nice one like this for me. Oh.
No, you will. I thought we sent it, right? No?
No,
Not yet?
you didn't do
Okay.
this one.
Yeah. Well, no. Yeah.
The
Well.
illustration, oh, you know?
No, this package.
But he has $1 million.
But he fit your pizza, shouldn't he?
Is that sharp enough? No, I'll make it a little big. Zoom to.
This is for the plus and minus.
Yeah. Is that better?
Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Close your bookmarks bar. That'll help.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this is not. So,
Do the drop down. 150 up there.
okay.
There you go. Drop down, drop down.
Is that better? I just wanted to see, right? This guy is 61 years old, and he wants to put $30,000, you know, for about what, 5 years only.
Yes.
150. I mean, he doesn't. We didn't really design, you know, to build really much of cash value. But I just want you to see this, right? Look at this. That's $1 million guaranteed forever. What? And this thing still built cash value. This is cash value right here. I remember how much he's 61 years old. You know, when you're 61,
It's expensive.
you can get stroke any time, right?
What, he's 61 now already?
Yeah. 61 years old. Does that make sense? You know, let's say if he's good for what? Let's say 30 years. 91 years old. Everybody follow me? Let me see what 91 is. Huh?
Okay.
Oops.
Minus.
Yeah, 90 is good, right? Okay, everybody follow me on this?
360.
Look at this.
Okay. 1.5.
1 million. $316,000 cash value. How much does he put in?
150.
150, and that's it.
It's making it 200.
Right? You tell me what kind of house can you buy with 150 that is guaranteed to worth $1 million anytime you die?
So the premium, he only put 150,000
That's it.
one time.
He doesn't need to put 150. He wants to put 150,
5
30,000.
years.
Yeah, because technically, you know what's the minimum STNLG, no loss guarantee? $933. So if he doesn't care about building this,
So that's basically the question I was asking before, how the bank makes money.
the insurance company,
Insurance company make money to guarantee $1 million. Because you couldn't.
this is what happened. They make money from number one,
Pulling on other people.
the stupid people, right?
Oh, okay,
Credit card,
No,
20%,
actually-
25%
okay,
charge.
gotcha.
No, actually, Prakash, when you study for the Group 1 insurance exam, they'll explain to you. Because
They will?
it's part of the test.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they'll explain to you how they make money.
Really?
Well,
Yeah.
you think about they really
You have to
bank
pay attention.
is on term insurance.
Yeah.
So we
60% actually of all insurance is still term insurance right now.
No?
Think about the group insurance, right?
So
Those
don't
are
see
term,
it.
Look at your house.
Exactly.
Money.
Okay, got you.
Only about 2% of all term ever pays.
right? This is why life insurance company, they love term life. You know, all the things that they advertise online is term life,
Yeah.
right? You don't see universal life.
No wonder they see that as a scam.
Exactly. But somehow people buy into advertising. They don't buy into, we're a financial advising company, and they don't trust us. I'm just like, go with the TV then, right? Everybody understand? Right? So this is it, right? What else do we need to talk about? Does that answer some of the questions? Right? You know, so the other thing that is usually on the cash value growth, right? Cash value growth. Now remember, we're talking about people who, let's talk about the two extremes, right? What is one extreme? People who just doesn't want to lose money, right, in the bank, right? Do we pay better?
Yeah.
Absolutely. Our fixed pay 4 to 4.75%. WRL pay 4%. PAC pay 4.75% on fixed.
Better than banks.
Better than bank, no tax, right? Bank gives 0.8%. CD pay what? Less than 2%. Minus tax, you only got like 1.5% net.
And then you count inflation.
Yeah,
you're-
and I've seen
you're
people who
negative.
have $300,000, $400,000 cash in the bank. I'm not kidding, right? No, but what do you put in money in the bank? Well, this is liquid and stuff. Do you know this thing is also liquid? Do you know that this money can be accessed anytime?
Well, after 10 years, advantages.
No.
Right?
You
No.
can access it.
No, no.
It's not
The penalty's on
payment.
surrender
Yeah.
if you close the plot.
You see right here?
Yeah.
This is the surrender value, but this is your actual cash value right here.
You can pull in and out.
So you can take out the surrender value.
Yes, you can take out the surrender value,
As a loan.
yeah, as a loan. There's no penalty, nothing.
I think
Oh,
it's
within 10 years?
80%, right?
With
Before
10
the 10 years, yes. Before 10 years. No, we don't really, huh?
I think it's only like 80% of the surrender value or 90.
90% of the
90%.
surrender value, because they want to guarantee that it doesn't lapse.
Doesn't matter.
You need to have
So-
some money
You
there.
cannot, let's say you want to take out, you cannot take out 4,841, right?
No.
Let's take out lesser than
Yeah,
that.
90% of that.
90%.
Also, when you take out, it's from the cash surrender value, it's not from the accumulated value.
No,
No,
because in the first, this one is, what? About 10 years, right?
Yeah,
The first 10 years, this is less than this.
okay.
But it doesn't mean this is your money, this is your real money.
But
Right.
that
But which one that you take out 10%?
That you can take out 90% of is this one here.
Anytime with no penalty, nothing.
No penalty, nothing.
Yeah.
Okay.
The reason why is because let's say you take out 90% of that, or of that money, they need to keep some in there in case you do close it down, because there's a fee. If they
Yeah.
let you take out from the accumulated value, which may be say higher, then there may not be enough if you close down the plan to recuperate their surrender fee.
Okay, so it's kind of liquid, so it doesn't make sense to put in a CD then, right?
Absolutely.
Oh, so
Right.
they
Yeah.
do the surrender value for
Because
the
if you
benefits,
put-
just in case.
Just
Now,
in
they got only
case
They
you
put
have
30,000,
some
right?
fees to cover themselves.
What if you put 40,000 or 50,000? Then this will go up by 20,000. Because it doesn't matter, the surrender value is fixed.
Yeah.
Mm.
If you
Based on
put
the
20 on
benefit
top of
of
that,
that
then in the
benefit.
surrender value, it would say 24,000.
Does that make sense? Everybody follow me on this?
So the cash surrender value is fixed, and because the cash surrender value is calculated based on your death benefit.
Correct.
So if you put more money,
Yeah.
it is good for you because
Yeah.
that means your accumulated value is more.
Yeah, this is why I don't understand why people leave their money, the 100,000, not 1,000 in the cash in the bank.
Say it again, I didn't understand his point.
Yeah, well, what he's saying is, this client put 30,000, right?
Yeah.
And then your surrender value is 4,841, right?
Right.
Goes up.
What if you put 50,000?
Yeah.
It becomes 24,841 surrender value.
How is that calculated? Okay, surrender value is how is,
Because your additional 20 is invested, right?
Yeah. Because this is how
Invested
it
at
works.
zero.
Your cost of insurance
Yeah.
don't change.
Yeah.
Surrender values mean that when you take it out the money before, so then the company they lose money, so they have to get the certain charge to cover for themselves. So if you withdraw the money the first year, you get back only 4,841.
Yeah.
So that because the company cannot use your money.
That's, if there's a drawback, that's the only drawback of this kind of plan.
Well, that's why it's a
Can you slide
long-term
left?
plan.
Huh?
Can you
Slide
slide
towards the
slide
left.
towards the
Oh,
left?
sorry, yeah.
No. The
Computer.
computer.
On the computer?
The slides.
No.
No.
Your,
I need to see the left side of
Oh, I'm sorry. The left side, okay.
See, because you put in 30,000, your cash surrender value, your accumulated value is 21,000. Your cash surrender value is 4,800, right?
right?
If you put in 31,000, then your additional 1,000 goes directly
To surrender value.
because you already paid the cost of insurance and everything,
Oh,
right?
okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
So you just
So-
pay another 1,000, so you get 21,900
Okay, so
and
you're-
5,800.
You're 1 million tied to 30,000 already, you're
Yeah.
saying.
Yeah.
Okay.
Essentially, it's not dollar for dollar exactly
I
because
understand.
there's an
Oh,
expense,
yeah.
but relatively, that's basically the way it happens.
Okay.
So what is it about just now if you want to withdraw, if you withdraw before the 10-year period, there's a penalty, what is that?
That's the
That's the
surrender
penalty.
value.
Yeah.
That's
That's
the
surrender
penalty.
value.
If
And
you withdraw
the-
everything out.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
cancel the whole plan,
You
Oh,
cancel
okay.
You
the
will
plan,
receive
you
this.
only get back
yeah,
that
instead
much.
of this.
And the
Oh.
surrender charge decreases over time. So the first year is going to be higher. And I mean, generally it's like, it may be something like 10%, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, like that. It'll decrease over time. So the longer you wait, the smaller the surrender value is.
As long as you keep 10% always there, it's no problem.
Yeah.
So the accumulate value 20,000,
course you're not
21,000.
growing. Yeah, I
that
understand,
is
but you're not gonna
excluding
lapse.
the
It's a
cost of
liquid
insurance
money,
value.
you want
That
to
is
use
just
it.
your value.
Yeah.
That's your
Yeah.
account.
That's
That's
the
your
issue.
That is your
account.
cash
Yeah.
value.
Yeah.
right?
You know, if
exactly.
you pull out money
Then
from your,
plus
like
the
your Roth, you
cost
can't
of
put it back in because
insurance,
there's a
It's not
maximum
funded
distribution.
back.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. So 30,000 minus cost of insurance and stuff is whatever your cash value is.
90%.
Any questions? Is that clear?
One question, if
No.
you take out 90% from your surrender value, does it decrease your death benefit?
No.
That's means fixed.
If you take 90% and you don't pay it back, yes.
Okay.
If you take it out, right, either as, now, we can mention that there's withdrawal and there's a loan, right? This is how it works basically. Withdrawal means you pull money from your investment, your cash value.
Mhm.
Okay, so if you pull $10,000 from this money will go down to 124, right? It's okay, you can do that, up to the premium that you pay, right? But if you want to access as a loan doesn't reduce this anyway, because loan is not pulled from your money, it's pulled from the insurance company, because you borrow money from them. Does that make sense? So what they do is, they move let's say you have $500,000 right here, right? They move, let's say you need $30,000 here, so they remove your $30,000, they put it into a collateral account, whatever interest that you pay over here, let's say you pay 2% right here, right? To borrow the money. They give you back the same 2% over here, or 2.75%, depending on whether you pull out the money as an use or not. Does that make sense? Now, part5 have, they call it preferred loan. What is preferred loan? Preferred loan, actually, if you borrow money from them, they charge you like 5.75% right now. But if you know, like index is going up, like in 2013, right? Max out at 32% and stuff. You pay them 5.75%, but you got 32% on your money. Why not? Does that make sense?
But I think
Yeah.
though what the question was, because there's a difference, we have to look at this as two different death benefits. There's the face amount, the 500 you bought, but then there's the 500 plus the cash value. If you loan money and you die before you pay back the loan, that money's gonna come out of the cash value. It'll never reduce that $500,000 of death benefit, right?
But that's fixed, okay.
Well, basically, if you loan and you didn't pay back, it will reduce the total that benefit that you got.
Yeah, but it's not gonna be less than 500.
It could be. It could be.
Took out lot.
Yeah, especially on the level plan. Yeah. Yeah, I'll show it to you.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, on a level plan. This is a level plan, right?
Yeah, because you're, well, yeah, because you're not losing insurance, you're losing cash value, yeah.
Yeah. Hmm? Yeah, no, level means the death benefit is always constant at $1 million. Okay? Right? So, tell me, Prakash, what is usually the investment people like to do now? Let's move from the one extreme to the next extreme, right? The next extreme, they like to invest in the
Stock market.
stock market. Why?
You can make more.
Better
They
return.
can get
Because they can get more, right?
High risk, high
Sure.
reward, yeah.
Yeah, and this is why we're perfect, because I can do both. We can do both actually. Right, you want variable or you want index guarantee. But let me show it to you why we talk about this, right? Because remember, the number two things that we said to people when you invest is what? Knowing how to manage your risk, right? Because I think we explained to people all the concept, right? You can make 40% in 1 year, minus 20, it looks like you're still making 20%, right? 40% in 1 year, lose 20% in next year.
Yeah.
Or you can make 10% in 1 year, 5% next year, that's 15%.
Which is better.
Which is better? I think we showed this to you, right? Everybody understand this? Everybody know how to explain this to people? Evelyn? You know, right? Which one is better? This one right here, right? This one looks like a small return compared to this. People like to see this, especially in a good market like 2009 and all that. Does that make sense? But they forgot investment is not just this, because this is why we have these materials, and I'm going to give this to you, right, if you like. And look at this. Right, this is from part5. Now this is just a simple what is 2000 to I want you to look at this, right? This is from 2000 to 2013. This is what the index, the actual index performed. Right, now this one looks good, right? And this one looks good, isn't it? Right, everybody like to have this chance. What happened with this though, and the 3 years?
That's
No,
happened to me.
Huh?
That's happened to me.
There you go.
Happened to most people, right?
Right?
Yeah.
But this is what happened.
You didn't get all the money.
This is what happened in reality. You see? This is S&P, real S&P 500, right? Total return versus. This is only 12% cap right here. We're not talking about the 2-year index 32% cap. I'll show it to you in a minute, right? But 0% go up.
Yep.
Is that enough to show client? Right? We don't have to argue, right? Huh?
Can I have this?
Oh yeah, absolutely. This is well. I think I emailed it to everybody, right?
No, this specific, like, we didn't get it.
I'm not sure.
But you can get it
But
from.
chances are you should be able to download, like, you can download it, right?
No, I have it. I'll email it to you.
Just
Yeah.
the whole.
Yeah, absolutely. People who come today, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. In fact, I have more.
You're licensed.
Now, you can use this one from, I like that one because it's a simple concept to show the client, right? But this is WRL on their 1-year index, with 12.5% cap. I want to, now this is a little bit more complicated. You understand about the segment, right? Did I explain about the
But
buckets?
Yeah.
Still remember that?
Which 12 buckets?
On how your money grow?
Oh, yeah,
January
yeah, got it,
bucket,
got it, yeah.
February.
Yeah,
And all
yeah.
exact.
Yep.
Right, yeah. So this one actually show the actual return of the 12 buckets from 2005, from when the product started. Right? Believe it or not, Johnny San is one of my first clients on this product, so he's
Yes.
lucky, right? You don't experience. I want you to see this, what happened, right?
It's because of IUL I joined WRG. Seriously. Seriously.
Right, 2005, 2006, this is the return of the real index. This is the return that was credited to his money. Does that make sense? Right now, I want you to see this. 2007, everything nice and dandy.
Year over year, right? Year over year only.
Yes.
1 year, okay.
Remember, when this thing returned more than 12.5%, he only got 12.5%. Follow me? 12.5%, 12.5%, right? But look at this. Started 2008, guess what happened?
Crash.
This one started going negative.
Stick at 1%.
Look at that. Ooh. Right? But he got 1%. Right?
And on the upswing, you get the 12.5%.
Of course, you know, when people get this, they forgot about this. I mean, right? I said, oh, I want stock market, you know, it's sexier, right? Yeah, but you forgot what happened, you know, during 2008, right?
You're going to look at the actual return, don't just look at the...
Yeah, so look at the actual return. This one doesn't show the number, so I'd like to show you too something that is more... This is what happened if you just put $100,000 in the S&P 500 with no floor and cap. $100,000 in. This is the real return of S&P 500. I'm just using one cap here. Let's say this is your January 1998 bucket, basically. Why do you put $100,000 in there? Guess what happened? You up and down, 188,000 at closing.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, double the money. I still make money, no problem. But this is at 1 to 12.5% cap. Same $100,000, right? You see this? 3 years down, you got 1%, and then come back 12.5, but 12.5 from here, not from.
But theoretically it should be less though, right? Because you pay for the expense. You don't actually.
Over the
have
expense
top.
too.
I'll go to the expense, right?
With the expense should be less than 195,000, right?
Yes, but I'll show you to you how you compare with the real investments here, right? This is understand first the rate of return with and without risk.
Yeah, that's clear, yeah.
Does that make sense? Everybody follow me on this? You can explain this?
So column C, that means that when you can't lock in, you'll get the loss, right? You will incur the loss.
Yeah, it's if
Because
you were
you don't
invested
have-
just straight
Yeah,
in
because
the
you lose
S&P.
one.
There's no
Yeah.
floor.
There's no floor.
There's no guarantee for not losing.
There you go.
Okay.
Column
In fact-
C is if you have a VUL, that's what it's going to look
Oh,
like.
okay.
If you have a VUL, a mutual fund, stock market shares, strictly.
This is 14 years.
So what
You
about,
only have.
what about a variable universal life secure? So do you have the no floor too? I mean,
No. VUL doesn't have any floor.
That's why it's called variable.
It's variable.
Okay.
This is why people really like to play their own mutual funds or ETF and stuff. Why don't they get variable universal life? At least
It's tax-free.
they got it's tax free.
And they got that
You can be tax free.
And something to note here, in case you probably don't get as much, but this is just showing what the S&P did. So if someone says, "Oh yeah, but that's just what the index did," you know, I mean, if we're managing it, I could do better. But the truth is no one beats the S&P,
Only 5%.
outperforms it, right?
Very small percentage.
What is
Yeah,
small
and not
percentage?
over that many years. You know, you might outperform it occasionally, you know, but there's no way. So that's why actually using the S&P is a standard, because it's impossible to consistently outperform it.
Yeah.
I just want you to understand. I understand the term, right? Look at this. This is only 1, 2, 3, 4 of down years out of 14. 4 out of 10.
Yeah.
The difference is only $100,000, more than $100,000.
So with the expense, what the number comes to?
Very good, right? Let's talk about the expense. Now remember, we're just comparing cash
Cash only.
value
Fees, no
investments,
nothing.
right? Because we're not talking about the debt benefit here.
Right.
Everybody follow me, right? Any questions?
No, without the death benefit, just with expense.
Yeah, investments, right?
Yeah, 295 is what.
Yeah. In
it's
fact,
number.
why don't we do as a whole better,
Okay.
right? Yeah, so let me explain to you a scenario here. Right? A scenario. In fact, let me just bring it up. Everybody should have this already, right?
Yeah, this one I have.
Huh? I have the, and I already used this several times, but I think you can take a look at it again, make sure that you can.
You have backed up your computer?
Huh?
Have you backed up your computer?
I do. Yeah, this is millions of dollars worth.
That's
you know.
right.
Tom Cruise. One of his clients, Tom Cruise.
Huh? Yeah, I like the others use the Tom Cruise here, right? Okay, so before I
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and you only bought 250,000
Yeah.
death benefit.
Yeah.
okay, let's compare this thing, right? So let's compare that you invest let's say this is Tom Cruise, right? I mean, I use Tom Cruise here, right? Tom Cruise make $150,000, right? So now he wants to, other than 401k, he wants to invest his money, right? Typical scenario for many people. Everyone follow me, right? Now he can save $1,000 every month, right? And he needs life insurance too, by the way. Is that true? So what's his options? Option number one is he can buy some life and invest the difference in what?
Mutual funds.
Let's say in mutual funds, right? What do you want to compare with? Mutual funds?
Yeah, that's fine.
Let's say, right? Mutual funds. Versus, just get a IUL, for example, right? Right? So I'm just going to show them, let's say the term life. In fact, why don't I show the term life first, and then this is what it looks like, if you want to compare it, right? Yeah, I make this calculator, Prakash, right? I mean, people can use it, but if you want more, more official calculator, go into the FINRA calculator. FINRA have calculator that actually count all the costs too and stuff, right? Now, I'm just assuming in this example right here, I'm assuming that the term life is using the cheapest term life out there, which is Banner Life, for 35-year-old male. For 30 years, it's only $460. We can do that, right? So don't worry about competing. We can compete with anybody. Does that make sense? Right? So over here, he paid, in fact, let me just do it this way, right? Comparison. Right? Term life plus MF, mutual funds. So this one right here, he paid $460 a year. Make sense?
That's 12,000.
Yeah, so 12,000 minus 4,460, this is the money that he put in. Yes or no? Follow me? Minus the front load, I'm using just the typical American funds or Transamerica with 5.5% front load.
For mutual funds?
For mutual funds.
That's very extreme.
Yeah, no, it's not extreme. It's typical for type A mutual funds, right?
That's index fund, right? Zero front load.
ETF.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can do that, Yeah.
Okay, let's proceed, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's going to be a long discussion, but because I'm just assuming 8%, there's a reason why, if you just follow, because index still doesn't have that guarantee thing. Does that make sense, right? So I'm just talking about.
We want to have the front load.
Huh?
We want to have the front load.
Front load, that's about 2%.
Yeah. Well, many mutual funds, because this is what most people don't understand. If you can invest in something that's no front load, but they have what we call the back load. You know about that?
You just can invest directly in the index fund, right? I mean, for 0.05%.
Yeah, you can put it into the ETF. We can discuss. In fact, I'll make this zero. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
Well, but I just want to show it to you first. I'll make it zero, and you can compare it.
That's right.
Right? Let's make it zero. Let's make it 5.5% because I can change that to 0%. Right? I'll show it to you. And I'm talking about just 8% growth compounded. Mutual fund doesn't act that way, but just for the benefit of it, let's say if you can consistently make 8% on top of every year
after year. Okay.
Right? If you look at the real mutual funds, even the good funds like pro funds and stuff,
Yeah, it's very low, yeah.
yeah, you're lucky to get 8% since inception. Is that true?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Before growth rate is 6.57 because the annual cost is 1.43.
Okay.
We can change it all the time. We can always change it. But I'm using, because I have to, when I do this, I have to use a real product, right? I'm using the Transamerica moderate growth, which is typical, moderate growth investments as allocation.
So what is that cost again?
Huh?
Annual cost 1.43.
1.43.
What is that factor again?
Huh?
What is that factor again?
It's called management fee, 12-month these funds.
Because it's an active manager that's looking at the fund for you.
Yeah, it's not even active money managers, they could lose money. Active money managers add 2% on top of this thing.
Okay.
401k have 4% cost. Most people don't understand it, don't know it, because it's never disclosed before. Right now they have to disclose it, but most people don't even read their prospectus.
Yes.
Okay.
Right? So if you want to talk about real thing, look at the prospectus, because that's where the cost is revealed. Because the illustration that we got here explain all the costs already. The illustration that you got on the website already include everything, the expense charge, the insurance cost, everything. So we have to be fair at 8% gross
Compounded.
growth, compounded, right? And then before tax, actually, let me just pull this to the side here. I don't know if I can make it smaller, maybe.
Yeah, down in
Yes.
your bottom right-hand corner, you can zoom out.
Yeah, zoom out.
Is that better? Okay, yeah.
Yes, yes.
Can you still see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
There you go. This is before tax. I'm using only capital gain tax, which is 15%. If you make more than 250, your capital gain tax is 20%. I don't even tax on your dividends or income tax or anything. Does that make sense? I'm just assuming your capital gain tax of 15%. That's it, right? After tax value. I want you to remember this, right? Yeah, remember this number right here. And then I'm going to email this to you so you can take a look at it basically. Now, look at 66, what happened? Before tax, your investment become $1.81 million. After tax, $892,000. What happened to your $500,000 life insurance?
1 million still, right?
Gone.
Oh, life
Your
insurance.
term right now.
Yeah, because your
Yeah.
term for 30 years that you paid this money,
Yeah.
gone. Right? So if you die, anything after 66, this is all your family will get. Everybody follow me on this? If you don't die, huh?
That's assuming you don't spend it, you don't draw it, this is all leave to your family.
Yes. Right? Everybody follow me on this?
Yeah.
Everybody, right?
Yes.
Remember the number?
66 years old.
At 66. Now, I want you to remember the 66 and then 80 years old. Huh?
892, correct.
Yeah. 80 years old. How much is 80 years old?
1.8 million.
1.909, right? Follow me? Okay, look at this. And then we'll go back, we'll reduce the fees to zero, okay?
Front load, yeah.
Yeah. Look at this. At 66, this is the same $12,000, right? Same 8% return. At 66 become how much?
1.3 plus 1.1.
This is your cash value right here. Tax free already. If you die, 1.35. Now this one, because I dropped the $250,000, do you have to drop it? No. But this is for people who said they don't need insurance, right? Because they want to compare. Right? So I just dropped the 250. I keep the 250 to provide a tax shelter. Everybody follow me on this? Which one is better?
No, different is better.
Let's go to 80 years old.
Down to 80s.
Down at the bottom of the screen.
Oh, there you go. 2.9. What was it before?
1.8.
1.9. After, with that benefit, right? Shall we put it down to zero?
Yeah, put it on.
Right?
No fees.
Yeah. Let's say zero from low, right? Oops, I'm sorry. Well, yeah, there's no real zero. Even the no-load funds, still have some cost
Yeah.
actually. There you go.
997. Fairly close, okay.
Huh?
Yeah, close 300.
944 for 66, right?
Yeah, versus 1.12.
There you go. Right? Now you can assume, well, but I can get 40% in my investments. Sure. Why don't you use VUL then, if you're so good at it?
And actually, this is assuming ideal condition of annual 8% growth.
Compounded return.
And this never happens.
That's okay, you can like 6 or 5, it's apple double comparison, right?
Exactly.
Yeah, so it doesn't matter.
Right? Yeah. You know, so I rest my case because if people really want to go into the numbers, show it to them. This one right here. I mean, they
This is
can
a
plug
good
in the
one.
number, huh?
This is a good one, yeah, I like this spreadsheet.
Yeah, make it easy, right?
And the thing is that most people, average people, this rate, if they were doing something like this, is in a tax shelter, so they are deferring taxes, but then upon withdrawal, you're not paying capital. It could be worse if it's actually in a tax shelter.
If you're actually withdrawing it.
That's kind of why I said earlier that tax deferred is not necessarily better than this as a tax exempt, because you're deferring things later and creating a larger tax liability.
Retirement is about how much money you're going to spend during your retirement, right? Now,
Yeah,
people
but I have
can.
a slight philosophical discussion on that.
Yeah,
When it's a tax deferred, you're getting the money into your hand right
Yeah.
now.
yeah,
You're spending
Yeah.
right now, there's a value to it, so.
yeah.
Potentially, but yeah.
Yeah.
Or something I'll show you
the-
later.
Well, the argument is that with the tax defer, by the time you retire, you don't have your salary, so your income is already down. So actually, your tax bracket's not going to be that high.
Who
but
says?
Still,
No,
No,
but
no,
your
no.
deduction
That is a very
is
bad misconception.
low
yeah.
too.
Huh?
Your deduction is
Right.
hopefully low.
You have almost
hopefully you
no
don't have a
write-offs.
teenager at your house, and hopefully you already pay off your house.
Right.
Yeah.
So you don't have a child tax deduction. You don't have
The
your
half mortgage to deduct.
mortgage deduction.
Yeah, and taxes are on the rise.
There's no guarantee they would raise the tax.
Yeah. I mean,
Let's say your income right
Unless
now
you're
is
planning to have
$100,000,
another kid at age 60.
right?
just for the write-up.
Right? And then 30 years later, let's say you have zero income 30 years later, but then you need how much? Because of inflation, you probably need 100,000 too, right? Right? Yeah. So let's say if tax brackets stay the same, there's no such thing as an old person tax bracket, remember that? Right? Because income tax bracket is determined by
Income.
income. Now, when you're old, you don't work, your income is zero, but you pull out $100,000, what kind of tax do you pay on?
Ordinary tax.
Yeah.
Same.
100K, yeah?
It's the same tax rate.
Same tax.
Unless you plan to be poorer than what you are today, right? I don't see how you're gonna reduce your tax.
Yep.
Or unless you revolutionize the government, change the word.
Does that make sense? Right? From 2012 to 2013, the top tax bracket goes up from 35 to 39.6, plus 3.8% Medicare tax to support Obamacare on top of that. What do you think the next 20 years will look like?
Beautiful future.
Yeah. Right? You know, I mean, welcome to the middle class America.
And they
right?
just raised the debt ceiling to what, 17.5 trillion or
Oh,
something?
yes. Who's gonna pay for that, right? We all do. Right? So, I mean, we can do either one. If people wanna do Roth IRA plus term, we'll do it for them, we'll help them. Nothing wrong with that, but I just wanna make sure people understand the numbers correctly.
Well, and I would say, I mean, even looking at 401k or IRA, a Roth is still a way better option
Yeah.
because of that. I mean, and if you guys have any doubt, you know, not convinced in what we say, there's a book called The Retirement Savings Time Bomb by a guy named Ed Slott. He's a CPA by trade, but he has devoted his entire career to helping, because one of the things he sees is that tax deferred is a major time bomb that just destroys people's retirement.
Yes.
And that book, I mean, he goes through the detail like you wouldn't believe. So for people that need a lot, read that book. If this isn't convincing enough, you need more. Go in that book. You'll see why he's basically going, oh my God, if we don't do something, people are going to be screwed. Because some of the people that are already retiring are. You talk to a lot of people that are retiring on their tax deferred savings, and their life is tight. They don't have, they have to tighten up because they're not in a lower tax bracket. So they feel like they're actually paying more in taxes, not to count for inflation. It's a major issue.
There you go.
Just a quick sharing. I just heard, I just read the book Robert Kiyosaki about prophecy in the future, something like that. But he said something very interesting because by 2016, right, the first of the baby boomers will be retiring, and based on the principle of stock market, the stock market goes up because people put money in it. So when the first of the baby boomers start retiring at 2016, what are they going to do? They want to cash out and retire, right? So they're gonna pull money out from the stock market, and the market will naturally go down. When more and more baby boomers start retiring, when they start cashing out, they will cause an avalanche of it's gonna
markets,
it's gonna
pull out money.
it's gonna pull out a lot of money. So the question, right? There's not enough current people who are supporting the market, putting enough money to prop up the.
So for me,
So the question then, so you will not recommend 401k at all, or you will, it was a hybrid, don't max out?
yeah, well,
You do, but
when you do planning for people, understand where the money is, right? Number one priority is the free money.
the match.
The man.
Matching is a free money, so why don't we take it? What if the company match 6% dollar to dollar? Take it. It's a free money. Number two is tax-free money.
So don't max out, you're saying, right? Beyond the free money.
There you go.
Just enough to get the.
Yeah, just enough to get your free money. After that, do it separately.
If you're gonna do it, yeah, just up to the match.
Right, we set a 401k too for companies.
Yeah, we could do that.
Right, and I know what the 401k costs look like. Well, it's horrible. It's
Yeah,
more
they
horrible
do.
than our air mutual funds, but people still like to keep their money in the 401k. I don't know why.
Because of public perception.
There you
And 401k, if you read about it, the history is created in 1970s,
Yeah.
based on 1970s economy, because they didn't expect that people would live past 100 years old. Like right now
Well,
we have.
Yeah, actually, when you get into the philosophy of why 401 was created, it was actually created for high-earning executives. It was not meant
Yes.
for
Average.
average people. It was actually, but they began to sell it in lieu of pension.
Yeah, well, but the other part is why the employers like 401k is because they push the risk
Responsibility and risk.
to the employee. Because 401k is by definition defined contribution. So they give you 100,000, they give you $5,000.
And they're
You
not-
lose it in 2008, it's
It's
your
your
loss.
Yeah.
If they guarantee you
Pension.
a pension, a defined benefit, 2008 happens, they need to make it up.
Go read up on DC
Okay.
and DB benefits, defined contribution and defined benefit. DC
Yeah.
and DB benefits.
Everybody understand this? Right? So this is why it's so easy, right? People argue with me all the time about these numbers. Let me bring up my calculator. Okay, let's say what fund again do you invest your money? Let's plug in, let's see how it is, right? Let's compare it with the same 8% return here. Right? You know, last time I went there, we were in Dallas, right? I think it was one of Inter's client, right?
Tom
Remember
Cruise,
the
right?
complicated engineer?
The Tom Cruise?
No, there's a complicated engineer, right? The honey, whatever, right? Remember the honey amp, right? Right? Yeah, plug in all the numbers. He showed me, oh, but yeah, I mean, my mutual funds gained 8%, and he only looked like in the last 5 years. Right? When I look at that since inception, you know what the mutual fund return is? About 3.44%.
Yeah, the last 3 years, because the market coming back, everybody
Yeah.
looks like a superstar, you know.
Yeah. You know, so you want to guarantee 8%. This guy right here, you know, what, if you look at 20, 30 years based on the strategy, could return, what, 8.71%. Of course, since inception in 2005, it's still about 11%, right? I think, in fact, we just do a review, right, Ita, to one of our clients. What's the return on that one? Remember? 13.25, 13.25, right?
Yes.
I mean, can you imagine getting like 13%, you know, no tax, and then you know, you don't worry about anything else, right?
Because it's locked once you get your 13%.
That's lock.
It's like bank interest. Once you get 30%, you
I remember that
Yeah,
annual.
it's
yeah.
compounded from that.
That was actually, I didn't get it, I didn't go back on, you know, because of time, so I forgot about, you know, talk about one of the benefits is the annual ratchet, right? So that means once you get that 13, all your gains that are added to your principal, once it's there, it's locked in. So that next bucket, when you go up 10%, it's 10% on your principal plus that gain. It can never lose that. So that's what that annual ratchet is that it sets you up. That's your new basis. Whereas if you're in a variable account, your basis is wherever the account is. And so when you go up 10% from a negative, you're coming up from there. Whereas with this, it's always like that. So it always locks it in all the time.
Okay, Rita, you know how to explain this to people now?
Yes.
Yeah, easy, right?
Yeah, expert.
Another one on that note though, Again, I emphasize we can do it all. You just need the proper license. You know, I cannot do it all, but Hadi can. So in his case, if a client were to say, well, but
I still want mutual fund.
yeah, my mutual fund can do this. Okay, what's your mutual fund? If it's in our selection, which I think there's a big chance that it is in the selection, then he can just pull up, okay, I can sign you up in this if you want to, right? Because we can still do term and invest the difference if they want to.
Okay. If no questions, we're gonna close with this. Billy will show, you know, a couple of videos, which is very, very good, you know, on the IUL thing, right?
Yeah.
So I want you to understand that this is not nothing new, right? You know, I hope that once you see this, you know, you're gonna be different than everybody else. You know, I like the fact that there are not many people know about this, because then it means we have a big market, right? Especially in Dallas. You know, my God, I mean, that whole market is wide open. A lot of people make good money. We don't have an office in Fort Worth. You know, if anything, just go to Fort Worth and start collecting names over there, right? I'm serious, right? I mean, we have, what, 13 offices in Houston, and we still barely scratch the surface right now. Does that make sense?
We can have capitalized 401k, right?
Yes!
You know, one of our big income earner,
What's his name again?
he gets,
Timberland.
one of his team gets 401k from one of the airlines
Southwest
in
Airlines.
Houston.
Southwest, yeah.
Yeah.
So one of the team member happens to be a steward in that airline, and they don't see, I mean, they got sick seeing their 401k up and down, so I don't know how it goes, but apparently somebody talked with someone and it shows, well, why don't we introduce this investment option in our 401k, and then it's introduced there as one of the options, and because it's doing so good, everybody wants to be on that, and then it expands.
The company is allowing them to,
Yeah.
all the people are doing it on privately.
No, your 401k can be invested in, let's say, 20 different choices, right?
Right, right.
And one of that choices is,
Or you will.
no, not IUL.
No, it's
active money management.
Oh, okay.
That's why you need Hadi to, you know, it needs a variable license.
There's a lot of things we can do.
Right.
Yeah, a lot of options.
So it's not on this week's, it's not on this month's training, but probably sometime in the future, March or April boot camp, we can do like an investment type.
See, and that's the thing with us is we do pretty much everything, okay? And so for me,